and go. I got one shot to make it to the top like a runaway slave. Y'all better call the cop. I must be tragic. Torture pop culture fabrics are real to the listener. This shit must be magic.
It's the art of war stores. Try to sell me on the bullshit. I'm laced up, buckling belts, pins, and toolkits. Building up my city on rock and roll and soul. Coming back on the physical wax. So fuck gold. Not a soldier of fortune, but believer in the defense. Protector of the rights. I fight the current events. Soul so bright, I cause a total eclipse. Fuck a new order. I began my own sequence. Individual might, but individual sight. But hot lyrical mics, high intensity nights. Try your walk with me. Back on the stage in a fiery blaze, letting loose the inner sanctum while I conjure the grave. Resurrecting on cassette, cause my heart in the stone. Chip on my shoulder, I'm colder cause I'm always alone.
And man, it's hard to breathe without sparking up trees. I zone without the microphone, scribing at ease. E9 bless the intro. I let the pen stroke paper, now exposing the fate. Look at the minstrels, reminiscing way back in the days with blackface on screen and crackers. They mock slaves, fuck a song or dance. What you get is a glance, a sharp bird's eye view through black experience. Where the slang meet a break, a slug meet your fate. White bras on a nigga dick, grouping in the taste. Goddamn, my nigga, it's like I've been there before. Like Polaroid shot, picture that I'm headed for stores. The agonizing truth, just lock me up in the booth, cause I'ma keep on spitting this shit. It's for the youth, young niggas coming up, y'all acknowledge the rain. Umbrella your head, get ahead in this game, my niggas.
back in the afternoon, munching on lemonade and macaroons, letting the penance on a glass of tune, feeling lovely. Bullshit can never touch me. A hard day's work, shower up, a nigga musty, fresh and clean, splash and neck smell good. Pop the collar scholar, cause I'm knocking on wood. Good luck will follow. Let's cop a bottle. Let's live today. Promise think tomorrow. Listen to wise words, 2 sips calming my nerves. Put the drink down, front tires hitting the curb. Stepping out of the car, sight stall the realest. Nothing but the truth, my presence will hurt feelings. Living it up, not a baller but still maintain. Getting myself ready, man. Go slow, change lanes. Swerving from lane to lane. Moving the steering wheel side to side. The daily grind got me up in the rat race, but now I'ma pull over, pit stop and change pace. Gotta get a breather or else I either fall down and
Bunga.
Oh,
Booga,
no,
booga.
no, booga, booga, booga. Okay. Let me adjust some volume settings because there's definitely points that we peaked, but we should still be good nonetheless. All right. Good evening, everybody else here. Welcome to another night of the Hotter Trash podcast. At the moment right now, yes, you see only 3 of us, but currently it will just be 2 because Victor here forgot to let his dog out for a walk. So we'll see him in like 30 minutes later or something like that. But don't worry. We got some things that we could probably talk about too, especially when the title is game news. Like, car games are considered game news, right?
No.
Oh, shit.
No. Yes.
So, to pretty much update everything else out there too, Bandai has now officially releasing out the Gundam TCG ever since Friday. Now, I only say that too because this is my first time playing it on today's Saturday. And let's go ahead and go through with some of the things that, at least coming into this, I like the game a lot too. It's actually way fun than I thought it would be.
You.
I mean, fair. That's like, from what I saw, the gameplay footage, and I kind of do keep up to it as well. It seemed like a very interesting system, and then I do have to make sure I kind of remember the rulings here and there too. But in your opinion, Lloyd, because you're technically a Bandai card game player too, like you played both One Piece and have you played Union Arena?
No, I have played Digimon though.
Okay, close enough. So, in your honest opinion here too, not in the sense that like I would say, is the game good or not too? Because let's be honest, it is objectively good. But
It's pretty. I say it's pretty good from what just the starter decks alone. They all have their unique playstyles, and
mhm,
it does cater towards certain people, like to the people that tend to prefer like
maybe
the
a
playstyle
slower
they want.
paced.
Like either they like to play control, or they like to play stall, or
Gotcha.
they like to play aggro. Maybe like combination of like
Yeah,
those different play styles. It's just they have a lot to play around with. Like even the beta, there was like I saw like 5, 6 different decks that you can make out of the colors,
yeah.
and that was before red as well.
Hmm.
So
Okay, so if, quite frankly, there's a lot of things you could do with this deck, or already with deck building alone too. And then the next 2 weeks after that, that will be the first booster set, which I'm definitely gonna go into probably spend a fuck ton of money getting a box.
yes, me as
So,
well.
nonetheless, here that's not the question I'm asking about here too. Compared in this case, the way how this game is kind of formatting itself to let's say One Piece here, since you're more or less more active in the tournament scene there. Do you think this has potential to stick a lot longer?
I say yes. I think also maybe it might be a collector's item because the Gundam IP is pretty huge as itself. But if you're gonna collect, you might as well just buy the Gunpla itself because that's you get the actual fucking model instead of this cardboard that you see.
True, that is true.
But
But
people do like to collect cardboard, like shiny cardboard. So I
yeah,
wouldn't put it out of the question.
yeah. So if anything, it has like a lot of merit uses outside of just the card game itself, because like we've seen like a lot of the promotion art that goes into it. What I already appreciate about this card game versus a lot of the other anime card games that have been out too, albeit I need to be specific here. Anime card games that are derived from shows and not just Japanese trading card games like Yu-Gi-Oh. Because even though yes, Yu-Gi-Oh is a show too, a lot of the card art is still more or less separate and independent on its own, kinda. And not a lot of it is like. And what I'm trying to make a point here is that I appreciate that the Gundam series, they don't have a lot of like card art that's like ripped from anime like scenes.
I hope so, because it's been out for like what, 50 years now.
Yeah, because like
So
that was
yeah,
because this is something I kind of looked into to a slight history about like Gundam card games as like a whole, because this isn't the first time like we're getting a Gundam card game. There have been multiple instances that it existed beforehand too, but it was always very niche and very wonky on how they wanted to interpret the rules. A lot of it was definitely they were trying to appease like the Magic the Gathering kind of people, which at the time when these card games were being popularized, it made sense, at least in America. Because in Japan, they're kind of already being like shut out of the market with games like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Duel Masters, and even like Metabots. Yes, for those that are listening to and you're old enough, Metabots is still alive. Not the anime, just the card game.
yeah.
So at least there's that too. So this isn't gonna be anything new or groundbreaking too. But what it is groundbreaking is that the game itself is very much approachable for at least someone like me. That okay, grain of salt here. With a grain of salt for my opinion on this. It's only approachable because I have played the card games previously and I have played Magic the Gathering. And it does play similar to that, with albeit extra restrictions that make the game a little bit interesting. But I think in rather saying that like it's easy to approach, I think it's a lot easier for me to explain the rules to people, to new people that don't know the game. I think that's the best way to really word that, honestly. I do have at least some minor things about how like they want us to do the mulligan system, but honestly, it doesn't really matter too much in my case.
I actually like the mulligan system.
Hmm.
I prefer it, honestly. I get to draw a new 5, then reshuffle the whole deck.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having like in One Piece, you hate your hand, you put it back into your deck and you shuffle your deck. But on Gundam, you kind of do that, but instead of doing that whole process like One Piece, you draw the next. You basically place it at the bottom, then draw a new 5, then you shuffle, which I like. So you get kind of see like the first 10 cards you like. The first 10 cards you usually get to see. I'm like, oh, like okay, I'd rather keep the second set than the first set I drew.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Yeah. And though that is something that I probably will question too, is like, do you have to keep the second hand? Because I feel like you do have to, right?
No, second hand you can only mulligan once.
Okay, second hand you can only mulligan once. Got it.
Yeah, you can only mulligan once.
Yeah, like you get in this case where I'm getting at too, where like you could look at the first fight, even though if you like it, you could look at the next fight, see what it would have been, and then you could still keep it, but reshuffle everything.
No. If you like your first hand, you keep the first hand, but you can't look at your next cards. So basically, those become your shields, your life area. So you can't look at them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's perfectly fine. If anything, I'm okay with it regardless. It's just one of the things that like it's something that I'm not used to doing that way too. I'm still used to like look at the 5 hands. If I don't like it, put it all back in the deck, reshuffle it all, and then draw the next 5. That's just how. I mean, that's usually common, right? That's like the most common thing that people do. So it's not really that earth-shattering in my opinion, but minor critique.
Ain't that bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. But regardless, I kind of am a little bit interested about like trying to play for more local stuff. Albeit, I'll probably have to look for stuff around my area for the time being. If I want to do locals. Because outside of that too, hell no, I'm not driving fucking 50 minutes every time.
Yeah. That's only when there's like a big thing. That's when you should drive out.
Yeah, which is perfectly fine for a lot. So for anybody that is listening to and you want to go into card games, I would say definitely look into the Gundam card game. And if you really like the system itself too, I'd say go for it if you like it, or if you don't like card games in general, but you kind of like the Gundam art itself. Honestly, do that too. It's not really that bad. Or you don't need to buy the deck too. Just buy like packs here and there. Eventually, you'll like build your whole collection up to see like a collection of really nice full art. One of like the people too in out of our starter deck got a god pull. For those that are not sure what we're referencing, it's where the entire starter deck is just full art.
Basically, yeah. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, that as soon as like someone pulled that shit in the shop, I wish it was me. All right, because having full art for a starter deck is pretty fucking nice.
It was like $900 or something.
Yeah, like the guy already made his money back from just that too. Now, a lot of people say that they would keep it too. I say, fuck that noise. I'll fucking sell that shit. Let that be someone else's problem. And then I'll use it to buy the other cards that I need to fucking play this game.
Yeah, in that sense, if you're just trying to get cards, and it's a better financial decision to sell it and get more to buy more cards.
Right.
Like individual cards, and you can still have leftover money.
Yeah. And also for the question too, that like I was also like wondering too about like the continuous support, like how much is Bandai really gonna go into? They're already announcing set 3 in January. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we're gonna get in this case the next set 2 coming this winter, pretty much. Actually, no, probably this fall.
Probably November, I would say. Because it's because starter like
set 3 is in January.
January, so it's probably like a 2-month time period then, from the looks of it, because we're
in July.
Out.
Yeah,
we're 6 months out. Then yeah, it'd probably be a 2-month time period, but in between sets.
Yeah,
so
which
money.
So, like I said too, I think in general too, I think the Gundam series has literally a treasure trove of IPs that they could literally pull from to make into cards. Now, the better question would be like, does this get power creep? Will this have the potential of being power creep? And I will say, in my honest opinion, absolutely.
Every game will. They'll just ban the fucking card that becomes too OP.
Yeah, like that is as simple as you can really do about it if it's like a problem. To the people I've heard too, that like, oh, I bet this game won't suffer from power creep. That is an illusion in of itself. Everybody knows that no matter what card games you play and how much you want to tout that your deck is power creep proof, highly doubt it. Look at Magic the Gathering. That game has been out for millennia at this point. And guess what? All the newer sets too. The Final Fantasy is the best yet worst set to happen to Magic the Gathering. Only because all of the people that love Final Fantasy are getting into Magic the Gathering, and anything before then too. They had the Avengers collab, other Doctor Who shit. There is even going to be Avatar: The Last Airbender collaboration they're doing at some point. So it's effectively Magic the Gathering became Fortnite in card games somehow.
You put it like that, but yes.
So, and guess what too? Even in the Final Fantasy set, it is the best set to happen to Magic the Gathering. But oh my god, some of the cards that I read on those Final Fantasy and some rule changes they had to do for these new cards, a lot of cards are going to be power crept. I'm not going to lie. But the whole nature with Magic the Gathering is that a lot of people don't really play standard anymore. They will just play Commander instead, which is just like a 100 card play format.
Card each.
Yeah, so it's not bad, but it's also something. It depends on like the groups of people that you play with as well, because you could have a casual time playing the game. So as long as nobody else is doing something atrociously bad, like they're trying to hyper optimize their decks, like I know a handful of my friends that do that. I just want to have fun, man. Just let me multiply my tokens 20 times, damn it.
Yes.
But like I said too, I don't know like the current state of like card games essentially, like outside of like looking into like the Bandai stuff too. I don't know how well Yu-Gi-Oh is doing, but all I can gather is the public sentiment of, yeah, it's really bad, and the fact that the power creep is worse. Only for the fact that not only do new players have to like look at the many card archetypes and effects that they keep releasing, and there's new effects on top of that, new rules and formats that go in. Oh, and also you just throw at people's like, what the fuck is this 50-year-old card, and why did I lose half my life points immediately on play? What is happening? Yeah, so it's one of those things too, right? You can never really balance out power creep from card games. Like in anything too, it's really hard to do that, especially you want to introduce new content. But at this point too, a lot of people do to kind of just embrace the power creep whenever it happens too. But it also kind of sucks that they will have to fork over some money, especially how valuable a lot of the new cards will be. So we'll see how this happens too, but it's also like coming from the, I'll say the latter end of the pool, that we'll see hopefully a dying culture of scalpers like ruining a lot of the card game hobbies.
Pokemon.
Yeah, so that will always be something that like just hearing the word scalpers again too in this context, and I know damn well they're going to be scalping Gundam cards too. It's already happening right now in TCG Player, where starter decks were being priced at like $20 or $30. Whenever we went to the store, it was like $18.
Right below market price. So.
Yeah, just so if anything, this place was definitely way more generous than normal. So keeping it there. So regardless whatsoever, I'm just like going back to the feeling of like, I don't think I've ever actually had this much fun playing card games ever.
Really fun.
Yeah. But in this case, let's talk about like some of the other like card game projects that we saw too. Have you seen any other videos about like the League of Legends or Riot Games card games that they're doing? Riftbound. God, I fucking already hate the name. So, for those that don't know, the League of Legends or the Riot card games actually has a name called Riftbound. Whoever is naming these titles too, I wish to bend your knees backwards.
Only named 2XKO on a side note. It should be
fired. Fired is one thing. Disciplinary action is a better thing for me, at least.
I just hope you fall. I hope you have ashy skin for the rest of your life. That's not as bad. Just no matter how much you moisturize, you will only have ashy skin
somewhere. But minus in this case, Riot's having the propensity of kind of naming their shit a bit weird. Okay, I'll take it at least that they're at least weird, not terrible, but weird. Riftbound is in of itself is a very interesting card game, which has like a unique similar mechanic to like Magic the Gathering 2, but it also draws upon like the resource cards, the way how One Piece and right now the Gundam TCG works, where like each of your turn you can like draw from like your resource card, but you shuffle your resource card so you don't know like what you're getting half the time. So there's that. But
you don't shuffle resources.
Yeah, you don't shuffle resources, but in Riftbound you do.
That's fucking stupid.
Why? Like I said, we'll see how this plays out. Okay, some people are definitely saying that this may not be a bad thing too. However, this is coming from the opinions that these people probably just want new card games to begin with, and they just want to at least be able to try it before it flops, which is perfectly understandable. I too would like to at least see it play out. Because if anything, I remember too that one of their marketing statements they made too, that like, what was it? Target was gonna have like Riftbound boxes where you could get 4 starter decks for like $50. So I'm like, okay, I might see how this goes and plays out then. Just because if I could get like that much value from that too, fuck it, why not, right? But to kind of describe it too, because I don't know how to really else to describe it. Like, you play in the sense that you have in this case maps that are on the board, and each player is supposed to be contesting on the maps. And when you contest in and win, such as you have a unit on that map, you score victory points at the end of your turn for every zone you control, up to like a certain point. And then that's where the fighting and whatnot happens to. You have card effects, yada yada yada. Who cares? The thing that really does strike me about it too is the fact that there already was a card game out there, which was the Legends of Runeterra. Albeit, I think the game itself has like a shell of its former self now, because a lot of people don't really engage on the multiplayer. They play like the single player gameplay.
Yeah,
like
just PvE.
Like, I don't know. Do you think right now that's just like the nature of like any online card games too, where at this point you don't really want to deal with people, you rather just start playing like a roguelike PvE mode with cards?
Kind of. Just more fun for them.
Yeah. However, for those that would say that too, you want to play an actual card game PvE roguelike game too, play Tales of Spire. That one game apparently is fun too. I haven't gotten my hands on that shit too. I probably might at some point, but nah. That's something else entirely that we can probably look and wait and see how this plays out. I don't know. That's just like little news I will add into Riftbound. I have nothing else to really add to this, because what else really is there to say about it? If you like League of Legends and you want it as a card game, it is here for you now. And a lot of the card art too will probably be unique, or might just be something that's ripped from the game too. Who knows?
Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if it's not obvious here too, if there's already you're making a card game too, we prefer it at least that you actually like draw and make new art for this game instead of like doing screen rips. Only because it's actually fucking better this way, and you also commission a lot of artists. Because I will at least say this: when it comes to Japanese card games, at least the newer ones, they have badass art on all their cards, and it's so fucking good too. I really wish that, maybe not for Magic the Gathering, maybe that's too much to ask for that one too, because we just have the Final Fantasy set, so I'm content with that. But I do like the idea too that they would commission like different like artists to like help them make the card art for like certain card games too. For example, when I played Vanguard, a lot of their card arts were badass, but oh my god, the game itself pretty much like killed it for me when it's like there's 3 different formats that are going on. So I'm just gonna ignore that part. But hopefully we'll segue into out of this too and into the other gaming news that happened as well. I really did hope that like Victor would come back soon, but if anything, Lloyd, you will be my in place of that. So do your best to hopefully answer these.
We'll try my best, but no guarantees.
Oh, so remember when we talked about the Stop Killing Games initiative a while back? If you don't, that's okay. If you don't remember, it's okay. Let's do a refresher course of Stop Killing Games. Stop Killing Games is a campaign movement that is currently signing petitions, and right now they've already succeeded in getting the petition amount in Europe of around 1 million signatures, and they have already surpassed it. And then there's like 200,000 more plus on the UK side and the entire EU front of talking about this. So, Stop Killing Games, the name of itself too is just about telling publishers like, hey, we've seen all the live service games that you guys are making too, and we get it that you develop these games so that it relies off of your server, but could you like in the future, whenever you do stuff like this too, kind of design it so that we don't have to rely on you whenever you shut down services, so that we can still play the games? That's primarily what the question is asking for too, because this campaign itself got very much started off whenever Ubisoft shut down the game The Crew, which is a racing game that we talked about. And they're still also battling lawsuits about that shit too, because, you know, people bought like $60 for that game, and now they can't fucking play it because it's functionally like dead software. Which is kind of wild to think about too, that like at any moment all the games that we paid money for too, if the publisher or developers does not want to support it, they could just pull the plug and you can no longer play it now. It's still something that we get it too. In this case, the current multiplayer environment too, where everything has like some tie-in with like the development team's servers, some way or shape or the other too. I don't know if Valhalla, like what you play a lot with Lloyd back then. Imagine at some point Ubisoft pulls a plug on that shit too, and now you can no longer boot up Valhalla because the servers are down permanently.
Paid $60 for it.
Yeah. So it's going to be effectively like the argument that we're saying too, is that like Ubisoft effectively stole $60 for each individual customers that bought it, or more, depending on how it is. Now,
Actually, I'm genuinely curious. I don't know much about the crew. Was there like a single player aspect to it, or was it just strictly live service?
strictly, it was a live service game too, but based on how you play the game as well, it might as well been a single player game.
There could have been a single player aspect to it.
Yes, there could have been a single player aspect to the game, but it was generally designed in the way too that it would have required you to interact with the Ubisoft server and whatnot whenever it came to like keeping your achievements, logs, keeping your card gallery and whatnot, something like that. It would have revolved around something with their servers instead of like keeping it in your local machine kind of shit.
See the problem of just letting people have their fucking game. Maybe you can maybe the live action, like the live service aspect of it. If you want to shut that down, sure. But what if people still want to just drive around and like fuck around, you know?
Oh yeah, no, that is the actual argument that people have made about this too. It's like going to Ubisoft, like, why did the entire game need to be bricked? If you yourself are just shutting down the servers, why can't I play the game without your servers? Is the actual question here. And a lot of people and a lot of things that Ubisoft has said too is because they want to make sure that like security reasons, some features are designed around the fact that it needs to interact with servers and whatnot too. But at that point, then it's just like, okay, we get your reasoning. But at the same time, like, why did you think this was okay?
All right, I returned.
Ah, yes, welcome back. We just got back into talking about when kind of recapping the talk about the crew and whatnot.
Ah, yes.
So, anything with that, they're still trying to at least defend the idea that like they're justified in shutting down the crew only because they made the sequel to it, the Crew 2. A lot of people were playing that, but at the same time, it still doesn't feel right for them to just take away the server for the Crew, effectively shutting it down. And therefore, the people that want to play the original Crew, because let's say what happens with the Crew 2, there's some stuff in there too, they want to play the original one, now they can't because, yeah, the servers for it is dead, and they can't actually fucking play it. So, Stop Killing Games was definitely supposed to be, like, asking the question about, like, is this something that publishers or game developers should actually practice still, especially in the world age right now where everything has a multiplayer connection whatsoever, right? Some type of level of DRM to live service games. We even talked about that shit back here and there. And here's the thing about what Stop Killing Games did too, and I do hope it does succeed. I do hope it does pose the question of should we allow game companies to go with this practice, because all this really means too is that what if you just disclose to every customer, right, before they purchase the game, they say it on there because their service is tied around it, that at some point the game itself can be shut down at any point at a time as well. And how much would that like deter customers from purchasing that game if now at a certain point the game will eventually come to an end of service?
You know, I think I think that's kind of hard to say. And number one, people don't read those. Number two, people do play it for a certain amount of time before they stop playing it, and they probably won't even notice that the servers go down, and they probably wouldn't even care because they don't care about the game anymore. Now, look, I understand the concern. but I don't think enough people care for it once it actually goes end of
Right.
life.
Right. And I think that's probably fine anyways too. Like let's say for example, if it was like let's say like a free to play game. Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't care shit about that. But it's still the notion that like you paid money for this game. You should at least still be able to play it in some form or facet. Whether it's like you won't be able to be into matchmaking, you could just get into an empty lobby yourself, perfectly fine, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still, being able to straight up like have your entire functionality be tied to if the servers are on or not is sort of like ridiculous.
It is, and like I said, I get the concern, but I don't think people care enough.
You don't think people care enough? We'll see still, because again, the whole end up like if anything, if that were the case too, hopefully the Stop Killing Games initiative push would not have gone this big right now, where a lot of like studios are actually panicking.
We'll see what happens. Realistically, I mean, the petition's one thing, but what actually happens is another.
Yeah. Like, if anything, what this petition does is that all it will do is that it will get lawmakers to talk about it, right? So,
Yeah.
we'll see from that point on. But from what it looks like, it is freaking the fuck out of these developers or publishers. So, that's a good sign at least.
You know, I think what they should do, and I don't know why they don't do it, they have no reason why not to do this, is that they should open source their servers so that
Like-
other people can host them.
Like, especially when it's already approaching like their end of service time date too. If they haven't made like successful like sales here and there, right? Because that's
even then, there's so every software has a supported lifetime, like a life cycle of sorts. There's going to be a time where you reach the end of life for a specific software.
right.
At that point, the company's not really going to do much with it anymore.
Yeah. And
So
I think
it doesn't matter if they make at that point they probably aren't making much money on it, which is
Yeah.
why they're shutting down servers and everything like that in order to save cost on a game that they're running but nobody's really playing. Now, like I said, the best solution is to open source it. You're not giving up your rights, or you're not giving up your rights to the game, like any copyrights or anything like that, or your patents or anything, by open sourcing the game. Or open sourcing the servers so that people can host the game. So I don't understand why they don't do it.
yeah. That's something else entirely too. The way how you're also framing this argument too. This was something again on another popular YouTuber, like some Pirate Software. Sorry, I put some under too because I keep referencing Some Ordinary Gamer, which is a completely different person. But Pirate Software has made in this case arguments against Stop Killing Games too. And I will read you to some of the points that he had made too, or in a much more of a summation about it. So if you really want to find like the videos about it, he has a lot of videos talking about it, or a lot of people talk about him making these claims. So I won't go through word by word, but so this is what I have for him. One of the core positions that he has had, he stated that he wouldn't sign a petition even if he were a European citizen, only because he thinks the initiative is too broad and vague, and claimed it would damage all live service games. Stated, with the addition of, I think live service games getting shut down is fine. I have no problem with the end of a game. Which, here's the thing, I think a lot of people are also fine with it too. But the whole different idea behind it is that not all live service games are made equally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, you have League of Legends. That fucking game is out for more than a decade. And it's still kicking, and probably will still be kicking for another decade.
Probably like World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Like, you still have World of Warcraft. Fuck, even RuneScape is still alive.
Yes, the good
It's a
old
banger of a
days.
game.
So, I don't want to hear that in this case, too, that, like, this will change, like, live service games. Okay, yes, it will definitely change the way how live service games are made, too. But I think that what Stop Killing Games is trying to push for is that it wants to hold the developers and publisher responsible whenever they make shitty live service games. Because that's the thing about it too, is that like whenever you have these live service games, there's the expectations that the players, when they buy into it, they're going to spend even more money onto the live service games. And if it doesn't do well, then they're just gonna fucking like close the curtains on it. And it's gonna be like, wait, what about my fucking money? Is there anything about that? Nope. Because the game didn't do well, we're just keeping all your money. I was like, what? Fuck you, no.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? You paid
Yeah.
for whatever product they offered, and they went basically bankrupt and closed down. That's normal.
Yeah.
What's
And
the issue?
I think really it's just the fact that like it's very much like there's so much of this is being pushed out there. And I think there is some ways that like yes, you
mean-
can argue about like regulations that can happen, like better business practices that go behind this. And
But if that's the case, then that should be extended to every product out there, not just games.
yeah, no,
Because
like
there
I
are
said,
a lot of products that do the same thing.
oh yeah, no. I think that's what a lot of people are looking at this too, is that like the stop killing games, this is sort of less the way how I've heard this from another person that like if you want to know how the real world is happening or going on to, the gaming ecosystem is sort of less a micro like ecosystem itself that kind of emulates what's happening in real life. So in some ways too, stop killing games could definitely start branching out to affect other things too. So
Yeah, that's the thing, though. I mean, like, you can't just target a small industry or whatever,
right, and
because
if
it's
anything,
gonna have to affect others as well, because it's not
Yeah.
about games, it's about how
Like-
the business practice.
yeah, right now because now it's like I think the stop killing games itself too. That's pretty much it's supposed to like tell you like where it started from, but all the argument points and all the talking points of stop killing games is kind of pushing for. This is more or less starting to question of digital ownership, which that itself is already like such a tricky question to really answer, and it's something that like I don't think a lot of companies are that comfortable with answering either. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think we'll ever get a fucking straight answer, but having this conversation out there, we're gonna actually start piecing together like actual ways that we can do more for this, because we're not actively like asking like developers company to keep the services up too. That's why we, like Victor, you mentioned earlier, to like just if you're not going to be able to support the game, at least throw out the server binaries for people. And that's part of like the initiative that what the plan is wanting to ask for as well too, that there should be some ways that the publisher or the developers should have some ways that like they can offer to players that they should be able to still play the games without needing the support of the developers. That is primarily what this is all about.
But then again, if that's all that's about, then the
Yeah.
only thing they should be advocating for is open sourcing servers once the game goes end of life.
Yeah, and that's something else entirely. But this is the reason why a lot of people were against Pirate Software when he made this argument, was the fact that he was purposely making it more broader than it should have been, when really it's mostly just targeting just specific business practice with already a clear answer of like how they could immediately fix this. So if something in itself too, one of the things that you claim to that the demands aren't feasible for every game, true, not every game can do this type of thing, especially if they're like a long-standing game like League of Legends, for example.
Well, here's the thing. Like those type of games, they were, how do I explain it? You don't buy into it.
Yeah,
You just play it. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
yeah, you buy the things just to show support of the developers that you like their game. I think that's the
with those free to play games. By nature, you don't own them because they're free to play.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine, and I think a lot of people can understand that too. But obviously, Thor, like being the name of Pirate Software, he's trying to mix them together, when in reality, it's not always the case. Like you could look at Call of Duty; that game itself is already a live service game. Let's be honest.
Okay. Yes. Warzone specifically only. Every
Yeah.
other Call of Duty is a paid. It's like is one of their paid games.
Yeah. Like you don't it's like straight up to it's very weird model to kind of set themselves up here. And I think it's like in a weird way to kind of alleviate a lot of talking points, but I still think they're going to be targeted for this practice regardless. Especially whenever like the next Modern Warfare
I-
that came up too, they kind of
Well, maybe it depends. If you can't play the campaign after Activision goes under, or after they decide to scrap the whole Call of Duty series, then yes, that is a problem. I agree.
Hmm.
But if you can still play the single player, at least there shouldn't be a problem. Warzone is free, first of all, and it's not really
Yeah.
like part
Yeah.
of the series. I mean, it is. It's kind of hard to explain. It's
Yeah.
not like something you own. Warzone is not something you own. It's something you play alongside the campaign.
Yeah. Like, and also, would you say, for example, too, that the campaign goal itself, like Thor even mentions, is that would this kill multiplayer games?
No,
It shouldn't, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't truly get the issue,
Hmm.
because, like I said, the only thing I'm getting at is once the game goes end of life and then everything shuts down. And that's the only problem I'm understanding.
Hmm. Yeah, because like this is clearly a very complicated issue too. Like this does require not like a simple solution of like they could just provide other things too. What if entirely too the way how the game's multiplayer works too is that like, well, you would have to be able to like server host like up to like so many different machines too and whatnot. And it's like we're not asking in this case too like for the developers to like think about that whenever they're trying to open source their servers. The fact alone that we should be able to have access to some levels of the server so that we can self-host it too whenever they go end of service is already something that we appreciate a lot. Like fucking look at Minecraft. That game is still alive and it's technically, well, actually I don't know, is Minecraft considered a live service to you?
No, because everybody hosts their own service. So
Yeah.
no, I don't think it's live service.
Hmm. So yeah, you could just server host it then too, and it's still popular to this day because like yeah, you can self-host it and whatnot. Albeit then there's the counterpart Roblox, which that of itself is a little bit of a different issue.
Okay, that's a live service game because
Yeah.
there is a company handling all of it.
Hmm. But kind of like going far from the point that we're trying to make here. It's clear too that Pirate Software is definitely was trying to undermine the whole thing too, and it's already been proven that whenever the campaign itself too reached the signatures that they needed to, and so kind of surpassing it, a lobbyist group that's filled with like the top game developers or publishers have their representatives write up a piece of, in this case, going against the campaign. That sounds eerily similar to the points that Pirate Software has made in the past too. So a lot of people are they already assuming that like he is an industry plant, or definitely he was told to say this from all of his other peers because he used to work for Blizzard, or he was kind of just saying whatever because yeah, his whole experience working in the AAA industry, that was just what he was told to think about too, or what he was like kind of like brought himself to think about. But regardless how people do feel about this, it's very much important too that this campaign initiative needs to keep moving forward. Only because of the fact that it's starting to get very alarming too. How probably if you think about like how many live service games that are out in existence, how many of them will actually succeed and how many of them will just go end of service, and however much time you dedicate into it with how much money you spend on it is just going down the drain. It's not like we're asking developers at this point right now for us to be able to refund us back, because I'll be honest too, being able to like ask for a refund is something that like yes, it's expected if you're going to take the game away from us, but it also kind of is unfortunate that it has like some emotional reasoning behind that as well. Especially
I think asking for a refund is ridiculous, especially depending on how long you actually played the game too.
Mm-hmm. Like, and let's say for example too that like the live service game in question too hasn't been like running out for that long too. Should they still like kind of do refunds on it? I'll give you the answer to that, and the answer is Concord. That was the most short-lived live service game where it has actively survived. Where the day before that we clowned on from previous podcast episode, the day before lasted longer than Concord. And Concord, in of itself too, they had to refund players because Sony realized how badly they fucked up in that franchise, or not even franchise, just for that one live service game alone.
Hmm.
And it wasn't even just because that it was like what failed was it for being a hero shooter. You have fucking Marvel Rivals, for example. That's popular. What ended up becoming the reasoning for that too was like not even the smaller like identity politics and whatnot too that got honestly, I feel like that whole part of it got blown up because of it. The game itself was kind of just uninspiring a lot of times too. It felt like it was really rushed.
It sounds like a lot of games nowadays, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that is the biggest issue that we have about this too. Because I'll be honest too, still play Monster Hunter Wilds too. That game itself is now considered a live service game, but at least the benefit from it is that I can still play this game solo if I choose to. It still has the single player aspect that I could do.
Is that single player offline?
Yes. You could like in general too, the game has an offline mode that you could still play and it keeps all of your records from there.
Okay.
So that's perfectly fine by me too. But I do like the idea of a question too of like being able to host like my own like Monster Hunter Wild server if I wanted to. And all it would really do is that like I just connect machines like peer-to-peer style to get there. I mean that's pretty much the only way how I can describe how Wilds work too. The only thing that you would need a server for is like the grand hub lobby where you have like multiple players like popping up. Or if you want to see multiple players in like the world. That's the other thing about it, right? And that's also why like I don't think I like our Pirate Software's argument too that like this is gonna ruin like all live service games. Which we already know too from the author of the Stop Killing Games, he's pushing for. He's not trying to target all live service games. This isn't supposed to just target all of it. What it's supposed to be targeting is in this case the practice that these publishers studios do that kind of just they're just very irresponsibly just releasing games without like giving us like a proper plan of how they're gonna like shut it down like properly. Because it would be fine too if like you give people the option to that like this game is gonna go end of service too. Like you give them the notification ahead of time instead of like just straight up like pulling the plug and then posting the news about it a day later. Stop Killing Games should be addressing like legitimate consumer protection concerns about like generally game preservation. I think some people can agree to that. And I have like some of my coworkers too that I believe in like it should be like something that we should still be able to play the games even though they shouldn't be running. And we're not exactly asking for the developers to like run the servers all the time for these old games. It's just that in the future try to develop your game so that we could still be able to play it, albeit maybe like a gutted function, but hey, it's still playable. I don't know. This is something that like I don't know like if this is something that's like a harder like decision or something that we should debate about too. Because let's be honest, I would too still would like to be able to play games that, you know, albeit in like old MMOs too that got shut down. I'd like to be able to play the games. But there just won't be a lot of people in the server that I'm in because there is no server. I'm just in a fucking world by myself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that, like, generally speaking, that should be something that we should all strive for in the end, too. And this is also coming from the fact that I'm only this passionate because Ubisoft did a stupid as fuck shit by updating their end user license agreement under their termination clause. The termination clause states, if at any point you violate the EULA or we deemed you to be banned on all the accounts too, therefore voiding your end user license agreement, you must uninstall the product and destroy any instances of copy you have of owning it. I don't know how you're going to prove or enforce that, but this is kind of infuriating now.
That's some Nintendo tier shit, bro.
Yeah, Nintendo is already bad enough that like they could just fucking brick your device, but if ever they feel like you're not doing anything too, and it's like, oh, but what if I want to sue them? You can't really fucking sue them because there is in the clause too that you have to deal with it through arbitration, which is something that I'd say that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Like, if anything, I'm sorry, Lloyd, that like you haven't gotten time to like jump into this too, but it really is just like it's kind of like dumb right now too. Like there's a lot of like debate about how much this is. Albeit there's some actual good points about it too, of like how should games honestly do this outside of like, you know, we're just gonna give them the open source binaries too, give them the documentations because that's the only overhead cost too. But everything else now too, the company no longer needs to pay for the expenses of running servers, and it's just offloaded to the people that want to still play the game. I don't
see
know.
that as a look. That's an absolute win-win to me. I don't understand. Like what benefit do you have by just keeping it to yourself? You know?
Yeah. And it's obvious too that like the game
Mm-hmm.
studios, here's my hot or trash take about this. The game studios nowadays, they don't want you to like keep buying games to own. They wanted you to keep spending money on the company itself and not the game. Here's my reasoning for this. Every time whenever we see new games that come up nowadays too, they always mention to you that it's brought to you by the people that made this very popular game in all of their commercials and trailers that they put out there. Now, I could be crazy in saying that too, but a lot of arrows kind of point towards that direction regardless. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I'm not quite understanding yet.
Okay, so how do I simplify this? It's like in a way too that the way when the marketing team actually always plays out their trailers too, and this is also based on like the decision of higher ups they want them to do, is that they make it a point too that this is a studio that brought to you these legendary games, and therefore you should definitely buy this game because we made your favorite game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's telling me whenever like they do that type of shit. But clearly, we have the problem that like not all the games too, especially we look at Mass Effect Andromeda when we talked about it a while back. That was a shit show of a game, and it was definitely not made by the original Mass Effect team. But I can't say for certain too, like how they ever want to run their shit too, how they do it. But it's clear too that the original team that once made it were no longer working for the company due to multiple of reasonings. But studios know too that they've lost a lot of like talent too, so all they're really banking on is nostalgia. They're trying to use that against us too, and they want to keep us there longer too by marketing in such a way that we feel like we have to be empathetic to like, oh, this is a studio that like brought us our favorite games, yeah, we'll keep supporting them kind of shit, without realizing, wait, the original developers who we looked into it are no longer working on this game. So what? Am I just really just paying for effectively just for the publishers instead? Because we also hear news right now where Microsoft had just laid off like a fuck ton of people, and months before that, layoffs everywhere in the game industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how can you really say for certain now too, whenever you see like any of the big games that are coming out too, the studio brought you from the old previous titles too, that they will make a reference to those in their marketing? How can you really trust that whenever you see stuff like that happening? And I think a lot of people are kind of just fed up with that shit, and it's scaring a lot of developers now too, because it's not working anymore. And Stop Killing Games is definitely another step forward to actually telling these guys like, hey, we don't like what you're doing here, okay? We want you to still be like, still make games. That's okay. Do whatever the fuck you want, but fucking don't try to nickel and dime us on everything.
I don't get it, bro. I mean, I guess the company's just trying to milk you as much as they can. I don't understand. They just want to make more money. Just make better games.
Yeah. Like, look what's happening.
Fivehead.
Like, look what's happening with Madden. Look what's happening with Madden now too. Holy shit. And it's like some of the things too that people say, oh my god, college football is actually the best thing that EA has ever made. But why is it not actually successful? Because who else fucking plays football games? People that play Madden.
Can you confirm, Lloyd?
I don't play college football.
I don't believe you. Anyways.
You can check my library, my Steam library, dog.
I'm saying that as a full of shit moment there, but yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Only sports game I'm playing is Usama. Pretty derby.
Get him, what I can't even say.
A horse girl racing. How about that? There we go.
God damn it. All right, that's also a separate thing to talk about too. But to really round out the point too, we are seeing in this case a change in the industry because for them to come out with this statement, like a lobbyist group that's filled with like a representatives of game publishers and studios too, saying against the initiative, does mean that like we're doing something right here. Albeit we don't exactly know. We don't have the necessary like legal mindset of like how do we do this properly. That's something that like that's the whole point. We want them to strike up the conversation that these studios are actively trying to avoid having. Because at the end of the day too, whether there's a new policy that comes out saying that like, hey, you need to disclose at some point that, hey, just put a sticker label on all of your products that at some point this game is going to go end of service. But like what you said, I don't think people are going to read it. Sure. But guess what too? It won't matter anyways too, because we already seeing in this case a trend that a lot of players are going to different games now versus away from like the OG medium where they're getting it from. Hell, the fucking Ume Musume game is taking the world by storm. I have not been able to go through Twitter and not have someone posting about that fucking shit.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's
That's-
goated.
That game is everywhere, and I am genuinely terrified because it is going to be like those games that are going to be the flavor of the month now. But I feel like this will have a long-lasting impression too because the game is genuinely fun. Because I'm playing this shit too. God damn it.
I'm currently playing it.
Regardless here, we can definitely, like, we here at the Heart of Trash can at least agree, no matter how we feel about the stop killing games or what needs to be done about like a particular solution, that this is something that has to be like a conversation point for the entire space, regardless, whether it's actually games or software. Like, this is generally something that like we've been shafted out of so much shit. And at this point too, we are tired of this too. And stop killing games is just one of the many ways that we are expressing it. There could have been worse ways that we could have expressed this frustration. But this is albeit the most healthiest way that we can do this. Without
that's probably one of the right ways.
Yeah. And guess what? The fact that it is working is actually giving us hope that there is something that we can change. So we'll eventually see, like, few more years down the line too, and we're gonna have more games too. Like, here's the thing about this: is stop killing games. It's not like it's gonna kill the game industry. If anything, this is just gonna benefit every game out there too. Because let's be honest too, a lot of the developers that have left these companies, they are making their own studios and they are making the games they want to make too. Take, for example, Expedition 33. Ex-Ubisoft developers wanted to make a game that they couldn't make when they were working at Ubisoft. So they just made their own studio and said, yeah, we release it. Holy fucking shit. This has succeeded so much too for a JRPG title that it actually almost is comparable to Final Fantasy VII. Or Persona. Numbers that itself too, something that we wouldn't see happen to a smaller studio, that we only see these numbers happen because these are like known brand IP titles. So that's why I think things are changing whenever we see stuff that all the newer game developers too, and all the new game trailers, these could at this point not matter. If there are, in this case, games that are being highlighted that genuinely are fun and people are hyping it up and it's actually getting a lot of attention that it does need if they want to see more games. Like, examples, Repo, Lethal Company, the fucking Schedule 1, a game literally about dealing drugs. Needless to say, I think if anything too, the game space is healing. Albeit too, it's the healing in a way that's good for us, but bad for like the established companies.
It's not healing. It's just indie games being more popular.
Yeah, just because the established companies too, they are actively now need to start competing for attention now for a lot of other people that they have lost now too. So they can't rely on stuff now too. They now have to start generating new products too, which a lot of people did hope for too, but here we are.
Yeah, that's something they should have been doing.
Yeah. But we'll see how this turns out too. For those that are playing Umamasumes too, how does it feel now that you are now training horse girls into racing? To those that were on the fence about watching the anime, I see you playing the phone right now, and now you are thinking to yourself, what did I do to get here?
Yes.
And let me tell you this, it is a fucking wild ride how I also got here too.
Start
They are
playing
indeed
it.
wild.
Yeah. So I say this right now. Like I said, our opinions about the way how the gaming space is has not changed. If anything, it has validated us even further. At least it validated me in this case how I predicted all this shit.
Say predict.
But I've already said my piece about it. We've already spent like a good portion of the stream talking about TCG stuff, and now with the Stop Killing Games addressing all the other stuff too. Hell, I don't even want to get into like how much money is being put into so many fucking games too that are supposed to succeed. Splitgate 2 having $100 million invested into that shit. Holy fuck. That's a game that we're currently playing too, and we actually have fun with that shit.
Oh yeah, go pew pew, go through portals, shoot through pew pew in portals, you know.
Shoot through
Yeah, yeah.
pew portals.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
as if we're playing Halo again.
I don't believe you.
Fantastic.
yeah. Sorry, I had to throw the shade out there again. But apparently, to news update wise for the Halo games, it's not doing that great. A lot of people are not happy with its current state.
Right? I'm hearing that people aren't happy with the potential remake either.
Yeah. I wonder why. What makes you think that people aren't happy with the potential remake here, Victor?
I don't know, Brian.
Well, let's be honest here. I think right now the Halo series has effectively died after Halo 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because
I think after 4 it no longer became a story about Chief, and I guess the story really did fall off starting
Yeah.
then.
yeah,
I
and
mean, of course, whenever 343 took over, that's when it really started falling off.
oh no, they're not 343 anymore. They're now called Halo Studios.
Okay,
Give
well,
a
that's,
fuck who they are.
that's not their name when they made the Halo series. So
You're right. That's why they rebranded themselves. They didn't want to do the remake. Like I said too, I feel like I'm being mean spirited whenever I say this too. I genuinely do believe too that like developers do want to make the games that they want to make, but if you work for like these big companies too, you do have to make the game that they tell you to make, right? So there's
Mhm.
like some levels too that yeah, I feel bad for a lot of developers that they can make the freedom of decisions they have to do, but that's just something that like if you work for a company, that's just generally how it is. Unless you yourself like want to align yourself with studios that want to make the game that speaks to you, then do that. If none of them do that, then I don't know, try to make your own. We've seen that pop up with a lot of indie studios. And albeit sure, a lot of times too, a lot of them will definitely fail before you get a success. But that's like with literally everything in life.
Yeah, Brian.
Yes. 9 out of 10 startups end in failures.
Thank you.
yeah,
I think that's
I'm the one that didn't
statistics.
fail. Just kidding.
It's like, there's 4 of us here. The chances are still pretty fucking high, Loy.
Yeah, I'm optimistic.
he's Optimus Prime.
We'll call it that. But do y'all have any closing statements before we end tonight's podcast here? Hopefully, we'll see more to this too. I was barely able to make it back home on time, so there we go.
Yeah, he was enjoying playing the Gundam card game.
A lot of
Yo.
hoopla.
Yeah, a lot of hoopla. But thank you again for tuning in tonight for my fucking rant once more. Always ends up having to be like that.
I mean, I think that we got some. We've made our points.
Yeah,
So
but I think
not
it's
too
a.
bad.
But yeah, I just gotta make sure that like I have to like be very straight with my points here. That's still my issue too, and I get it, but I do what I can here. But yes.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you all for tuning in for another night of the How to Trash podcast too. Hopefully the YouTube streaming too works out for us too until Twitch fixes itself. But until then,
Yeah, that'll be a
everybody.
while.
Yeah. But until then, guys, good night. Have a good evening.
Goodbye. Brain sex again.
What the hell?